What's the real reason why brands fall off a cliff after Q4? We're talking about that today in this video. The problem why so many brands stumble right out of the gate at the beginning of the year is because they've spent all of their time and energy in Q4 for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday season, and maybe if they've already done this prior, maybe even from Labor Day on, they've had a huge push for sales, for promotional events. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the holiday season is one of the biggest reasons why brands find themselves extremely burned out in Q1 of the following year. Now, here's the problem. These audiences that you've been hitting are burned out with the same message. They're burned out with the same message over and over again. Discounts, offers, everything that you've thrown at them Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Also, you have got tired creative. Both of these things lead to burnout in Q1 of the following year. Now, today's show, we're going to be talking about exactly how to remedy this, and it starts with this: creative diversification. With Meta's massive Andromeda gem lattice update in 2025. Actually, it happened in late 24 and into 2025. A lot of brands have found themselves really lacking the ability to have a great deal of diversification in their creative. And we've talked about this in a number of videos here, but what does exactly creative diversification mean? It doesn't mean just running the same ad and cutting it in different ways. That is not what creative diversification means. What it actually means is 4 different factors to help get around this. And of course, if you need our help at Tier 11, you can look us up over at tier11.com/CD. So if you're struggling out of the gate here in Q1 of the new year, because you've burned out your audiences in Q4, there's 4 factors that I want you to keep in mind when you're doing new ads and new creative for your brand. The first one is message. What do I mean by message? Well, in every ad and every story and every reel and every feed placement, you need to have a diversity of message. And these can be barriers or problems that your audience is dealing with. Or it could be benefits for your product, maybe emotional benefits, maybe functional benefits, maybe product-based benefits. And then you can also incorporate demos or demonstrations of your product actually being in usage. That's what we talk about when we talk about message. So the second part is format. Format is, in essence, the static or a video or a GIF or a dynamic product ad. Any of these things, a carousel, that's a different type of format. And that format will then lend itself to this whole idea of creative diversification. Now, within each one of those formats, there's also different sizes, a 1x1 video or a 1x1 static image or a 1x1 animated GIF, or maybe a 4x5, which is very common, especially on Instagram, of an image, of a video, of a static or a GIF. Or you can go with the 9x16, which is typically what you see in stories and reels, which is obviously the elongated format that we're so used to seeing now. So number 1 is message. Number 2 is format. Number 3 is approach. How are you going to be approaching your audience? What are you going to use in that content, in those videos? Well, this could be creator content. This could be UGC. It could be testimonials. It could be product-focused type of ads. These are all different approaches which you can then vary with your messaging and your format. The number 4 thing is placement. Placement is obviously newsfeed. Reels, stories, banners, if you're actually doing that on the audience network. The combination of all 4 of these factors gives you a multitude of different ways in which to diversify your content. You're basically hitting your audience in different ways with different messaging, with different formatting, and a different approach, as well as in different places where they are on the web and on Meta's properties. This is how we're able to put together the creative diversification strategy. Now, there's a lot of people that have asked us specifically, we always talk about 10 specific ad formats that we use within the context of these 4 components. Those are actually embedded more or less in approach. That's just one way in which you can diversify your content. But if you can take those 10 individual ad types and then diversify them by message format and placement, you now have a multitude of ideas, a multitude of ways in which to approach the same audience with a slightly different messaging, and then obviously getting them to understand your brand, and then ultimately to convert and to purchase your product. And at the end of the day, to become a brand advocate for your brand. So when it comes to creative diversification, start with these 4 different components, add in the 10 ad formats, which we'll talk about in a separate video here. You have got yourself a great creative diversification package that will catapult your sales and help you leverage this Andromeda Meta update, which we have spent over $40 million of our own money testing all of these individual philosophies here. We know it works, and we've seen results anywhere ranging from 40 to 70% reduction in new customer acquisition costs just by using this strategy here. So hope you found this video helpful. Like, share it, comment if you want, or subscribe to this channel to get more videos just like this. Till the next video, we'll talk to you soon.